All right, everyone, we are looking at 5 tribes genies, and we're going to rank them. But first, we got to go over what are each of their abilities. So, looking at Alameen, at the game end, each pair of slaves you hold acts as a one wild merchandise of your choice. So, I already said the bad word. It's actually fakirs, not slaves. Okay. But yeah, so that ability would allow us to get more green cards and or get maximize our green potential. So there's something good there. Okay, a new knock. Draw 3 meeples at random from the bag. Place them on an empty tile. A way to extend the game. Ball. Each time someone gets a genie, you get to collect a gold coin, or collect 1 gold coin if it's you, and then 2 if it's the opponent. That's a common theme with each of these genies: 2 versus 1. Boaz. Your elders and viziers are protected from assassinations the rest of the game. Borak, I really like Borak. Turning a 2 point card or a slave could be, or fakirs could be 0 to 6 points. Turning one of those guys into a 5 point palace. Okay, so there's that. Next up, we'll move on to. All right, the next one is Haruvai. Okay, looking at Haruvai. At the game end, each of your palm trees is worth 5 victory points instead of 3. That's pretty cool. Ibus, your assassins kill 2 meeples of any color on the same tile. Okay, but you have to give up a resource to activate that ability. I like the ones where you don't have to give up anything for them, such as Jafar. A yellow meeple is worth 2 more points. Normal. I'm going to go over a couple more of these. This is not all extensive and it doesn't include any of the expansions, but Monkir, each time a palace is placed, you're getting some coins and more if it's not you. Marid, moving on your spaces. That's pretty nice, especially early game getting those. All the ones with that 2 versus 1, good to get early game. And then we've got 2 of these that I'll talk about, Ledha and Utug right here. Utug, you can place a camel out, and a lot of this game is about placing camels strategically. Utug places a camel on a place that has meeples already on it. Leta needs the place to be empty, and it's very easy to make a place empty. Um, all you've got to do is just pick up that square and move the meeples off of that square. So they're both powerful. Utug doesn't require you to do anything. A lot of times there's meeples all over these high point areas. So some would say Utug's the best, but Let is pretty powerful too. And then slower, I mean, when I first started the game, I thought Utug was the top one. Slower, it lets you paying 1 fakir. It lets you take the top resource from the deck. That way, it's secret. Normally in the game, you know what your opponent has as far as green cards, but using slower, you actually don't know how many green cards your opponent has. Okay, so I think we've gone over enough of those that we can say, all right, 3 minutes into this video, you said you were going to show me a tier list. Yes, I will. We're going to create a tier list using the tier list that's already created here from what everybody else thinks are the top genies. Okay, so let me get my camera situated. This is good. I like it. I don't like this though. I think we need to add a row below because some of these might be some F tiers. Okay, and now we've customized the tier list to support our means, what we're trying to do. And let's go from here. Alrighty. So this is what the community rated. They put Marid on the top. They put this genie that allows you to get more genies on the top. Jafar we talked about. Monkir we talked about. Borak we talked about. This guy makes you extend the game. This lady starts with an H, but she gives you 2 extra points in white meeples. Nakir, That's a 2-in-1 coin thing for the rest of the game. Well, I like some of these other abilities, but Nakir works for killing a meeple when you're using your assassins. And then Kandicha, when you use an assassin, you gain that ability, whether it's getting a from the top of the deck. This is the second one where you have secret scoring in your green cards, right next to Slower, where we talked about that power with Fakir's drawing from the top. Killing a green would let you draw from the top for Kandicha as well. Blue gives you the coins for that area. Yellow and whites, you get to actually take that as yellow and whites, even if it's from your opponent for a net of potentially 4. Take away 2 and gain 2, that's 4 points. Or with the yellows, you could flip it and you gain 10 points, they lose 10 points. Plus the points of your yellows, usually 1 you have Jafar. That was pretty deep, but now we need to change up the ranking. So I'm going to start moving some to F tier and then moving some potentially up to S tier. So first, when I'm looking at F tier ones, I'm going to look for ones um, that don't have a very good ability. So potentially this one that lets you move around a tree, just 10 points straight up and move around a tree. That's not so great. 10 points and move around a palace, that's not so great either. And then there is one that has a low point value and has not a very good ability. This guy right here, he lets you pay a little bit extra, a little bit less coins to place out your bid, and it's only 6 points. And I just don't like that one. In fact, a lot of times in the game, I'm already bidding a little extra, or a little less, anyways. So, and sometimes I don't even want to go first. I want to go second. In addition, to do this ability, it's not like inherent. You have to pay uh, fakirs. So at any rate, all these 3 powers, you have to pay a fakir to do it, or a 2-point elder to do it. And although at their base level, elders are only 2 points, you can turn an elder into many more points. So it makes me feel like that is the wrong answer to do in this game. In fact, a lot of the ones that cost elders or fakirs are going to be placed a little bit lower in my mind. Next up, we got the D tier ones. So for D tier, I'm thinking the right answer. I don't know why these ones are currently in D tier. So we dropped one from what, B and C, and then we dropped some from D tier down to F tier. But a lot of these D tiers, I think, are actually pretty good. In fact, it looks like somebody has 2 copies of Utug and another copy of Utug, so that's just way too many Utugs. So that's unfortunate that somebody did that. Is there a way we can get rid of all those Utugs? How did they even do that? Oh, I think I know what they did. Okay, so if it's gonna be tricky. I add a row below, and then I'm going to put some of these Utugs down there, and then I'm going to delete them. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's what we have to do. We have to, all right, add a row below, and then we can start deleting some of the doubles. They do that. So cleaning up this list, getting rid of some of these doubles. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Why in the world did they do such a thing? Because yeah, I really don't agree that there's that many. But I think what happened is this is an accumulation of everybody's lists, and so the numbers got a little bit funky. Still, how could somebody have put E tiers and F tiers down there? Doesn't make sense to me. But no matter, we can continue on and delete all the ones that are extra and carry on with that. Apologies, but we'll continue. So next up, let's see. So I would say for D tiers, we're looking at ones that, maybe these 10 points are actually fine. You basically, they're fine. They can be D tiers. You're turning something that is two yeah, two whites, so 4 points, turning it into 6 points. So that's a net gain. So we'll put that at D tier, but it's certainly not F tier. Then we will move to some of the C tiers. So killing extra meeples, that could be fun, but the problem is it spends a white or a fakir. Any of these ones that spends whites and fakirs, I'm not a huge fan of. And even Alamim, you have to not spend those fakirs at the end of the game. So that's why I'm putting him in C tier. Um, so yeah, whenever you have to spend them, I'm not sure I really love them so much. Spending a 2 point to gain a 3 point, or potentially 5 points if you have the one that's the tree's worth 2 more points. What is that? Enki? Yeah, not the best. So I'll put all those in C tier. These are all ones where you're spending fakirs or not being allowed to use your fakirs. Right. I think Alamim might be a little bit better though than Slore, because Slore is just going to draw a new card. Alamim, those two that you're spending could actually be, or will be, the one that you don't have. So just taking a bunch of fakirs could be a good strategy. So we will move Alamim up into B tier. I think originally Alamim was 6 points, because you see all of these are even numbers except for Alamim. He was 6 points, and then they took Alamim and they said that's a little bit overpowered, so they moved him down to 4 points to keep it even, right? Because remember, he's the only odd number one. And then Alamim was too underpowered at only 4 points, so they moved him up to 6 points again, and then he was overpowered. So the difference in 2 points really mattered so much, and everything I just barely said is a lie, but hilariously, they just decided that one of the genies should be 5 points, and it's Alamim. So, moving on from Alamim, we have Boaz. Protecting your meeples, that's maybe a C tier, actually. Well, it's an ability you keep the rest of the game, but how many times do you need to protect your meeples? Not usually. Maybe if you're fighting against Candice. Um, sure, we'll put Boaz in C tier. Alamim beat out Boaz. Letta and Utug, I've mentioned in the beginning of the video, they're about the same. The one that starts with an H that gives you more points for each tree, that one we'll put in A tier. I do like inherently just getting more points for doing something, so 2 more points, plus it's an 8 point card. So similar to Jafar's ability, 2 more points for yellow meeples, 2 more points for trees. What's more likely for you to get a lot of? Are you more likely to get 5 trees in the game, or more likely to get 5 yellow meeples? Because when you get 5 of one of those and you have the corresponding genie, that's 10 whole points. I'd say you're more likely to get 5 yellows. But the tree giving one is worth 8 points, and Jafar is only worth 6 points. So we'll put them both at A tier. Maybe I like Jafar a little bit better, but especially in a 2-player game, you're going to get a lot more yellow meeples. Now, we gotta have Alamim not be alone in this tier list. So, Alamim, does he get anybody else to join him? Well, I think the one that gives 2 points more per white meeple is a powerful one, but you do want to spend those white meeples to do things. Keeping them doesn't help. Like, keeping the yellows helps. You're never spending the yellows. In fact, you don't want them to be lost. Spending the whites could be worth more than 4 points. However, I will say a lot of new players who have played this game and have gotten this power for doubling the points of their whites, have done really well in the game. They just collect a bunch of white meeples and they never spend them, and they do pretty well. So that might be a good strategy. Um, it's just a trend I've noticed, like new players getting very good scores with that. We'll put it just below Jafar and the Tree Giver. Next up, B tier. I'm thinking the one that extends the game also might be a B tier. It could allow you to do some really cool, powerful things, but that is situational for sure. Now, there's going to be a lot of them in the A tier, I feel. So, sure, we're going to move them down. There's going to be too many in the A tier. So, the absolute worst F tier, we'll say, is this 6-pointer that affects the bidding. Then the two 10-pointers in the whole game, there's only two. They'll be F tier, fine, but almost a D tier. Move down the C tiers to D tiers. Maybe keep slower at the top of the D tiers. Alameen will put down in the C tier. And then we've got some B tiers. Let's see. Some of these B tiers are potentially gaining, yeah, we'll say 2 points per genie. That's only gonna give you maybe 4 points in the whole game. Your opponent's just gonna grab 2 genies. And you might get some genies, so 6 points total. Not as good as Jafar. And then Nakir might be the best of the B tiers, encouraging your opponents to not kill meeples, and so you just are able to just kill whenever you feel like it's good to kill them. Borak's a good B tier. You can turn all their whites into 5 points. So 2-point meeple turning into 5 points. That's an up of 3, and also all their fakirs. So that's a pretty powerful B tier. I'd say better than the just getting 1 more point per white meeple, 3 more points per one of those. That's probably the highest one as far as the ones that need to spend meeples. Maybe Utug and Letta would be A tier actually. I guess now we look at Cibitus. There's a strategy though with Ball and Cibitus. You can just for the rest of the game collect a bunch of genies and get coins for it. I really like those two together, so I'm keeping them in B tier just for that. I personally really like Candicha. I'll leave Candicha in A tier. That's just a cool ability, getting a bonus from killing meeples the rest of the game, because you want to be killing meeples with the red powers. And then Monkir. Monkir is going to be, let's say that's a B tier. Just getting some coins every single time a palace is played. There's nothing for getting coins every single time a tree is played, though. Notice that. And then the best of the A tier, I would say, is Marid. Marid's going to give you coins for early game. Getting Marid's really good. So Marid gives you coins for the rest of the game when people place their meeples on where you're at. So a good move is to just really early game place out 2 or 3 camels a turn and then just sit there and collect on coins where the other player or players at the table start giving you a bunch of coins. Let's say Marid is the best of the A tiers. There is one S tier that we haven't talked about yet, and let's see if you can guess it. Yep, you're right. Yeah, well, I'll give you some time to think. Which one is the S tier and why? Give some time. What do you think it might be? Okay, the correct answer, gave you enough time, is Echidna. Echidna is an S tier because Echidna is just so powerful. It's 1 turn in the game, she can score 50 extra points for you. You can just turn it into a 100-point turn because all you gotta do is spend a white meeple and a fakir, or a white meeple and a white meeple. that lets you double the coins that you get from a blue action. So just doing one single blue action, that's what you want to do. Just one big powerful blue action. You could do two, but every single time you do it, you're spending a potential of 4 points to do it. I'm guessing two white meeples is about 4 points to you. Yeah, I'm thinking Echidna getting 50 whole more points just because you timed out a blue action is so powerful, and it makes your opponents have to plan around you. So with that, Echidna is the top one. Now, I'm happy with Mareed being the second best in my book. I'd say the third best might be Utug and Letta because it will increase the speed at which the game ends. But it's not a like it doesn't game change the game as much as that S tier Echidna. Getting 2 extra points for these things you already want to be grabbing a lot of, trees and yellow meeples, I'd say that's fine. If somebody's got Monkir, you're going to not want to be placing as many palaces, but there's nothing that's going to stop you from wanting to place trees. So grab this 8-point palm tree one, and yeah, it might be a little better than Jafar, but I really like Jafar because I'm a yellow meeple guy. Really like to do the reds and yellow meeples early in the game. Just snuff out any potential for my opponent to have more yellow meeples than me, and then quickly end the game with red meeples is my main go-to strategy. And it's gotten me places in the game. I can show you a little brag here how far I have gone in 5 tribes. So currently the top player and reigning champion of last season was Mountain 79979. Uh, I've made it to 18th place. I've made it to 53rd place. I'm 33rd overall. I have gotten an expert assassin at the game. Um, oh, I just realized you weren't even able to see that. All right, we're gonna make it really small. Now you can see. Okay. So Mountain 79979, and yes, I made it to 18th place. And this season 22, I hopefully will do better. But I've gotten expert assassin. Um, I've gotten 20 victories at the game. I've gotten on fire, which requires 10 wins in a row or something like that. Um, Now bonsai I think is 10 wins in a row. On fire might be 4. I'm not sure. We can check though. Check what it. Yeah, 10 consecutive wins. Okay, so 10 total wins in a row, and currently I'm ranked overall 33rd in this game, so I know a little bit about to play, and I am going to try to make it to the top of the 5 tribes bracket. I am 22nd overall so far, but this is a game that doesn't have many players on the platform. So you could just pick up the game and do very well. So with that, we will go back to the tier list and we're going to see what other people ranked as their top to bottom ranking of um, all of the Djinns from 5 tribes. So we will see what other players did. But I'm going to take a little bit of a screenshot here of this so that I know what my ranking was. Or I could just save my ranking. But I want to view the community's ranking. Okay, so sure, that was a crazy tier list up there, but let's see what other people said. So this fellow by the name of, oh, this is 5 tribes when you're only playing with 2 players, is what they said. Their ranking is 2 players. So they said Echidna at the top. Then there's a must pick 20 plus point potential. Okay, that's pretty good. Saying 20 plus point potential there. Then there's also tier list for the situationally powerful ones, which are Kandicha, Amun, the one Amun Ra, whatever, Amun Nak, one that extends the game. Sibitis, yeah, that's situational if you have ball together with Sibitis. Just playing out a bunch of genies. But if your opponent has ball, don't get Sibitis. That would snuff out the Sabita strategy of just getting every single genie. Jafar. Yep, people like Jafar. Okay, so I was kind of right. If this is the correct answer in the game, then I did it correctly. Monkir. Okay, that's maybe where I had it. I had mine a little bit below lower for Monkir, but I had these two above it. And then turning your elders into 5 points. Yeah, sure. This one turns 2 elders into 6 points. So sure, that's fine. Yeah, Borak turns into 5 points, and that sort of turns into 5 points, and it's worth 10 points. So I could see why they put that at a little bit higher. But Borak and it are definitely levels. In fact, I would put Borak above Alamim. And then if you have no other options, it's late. It's late game. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you end the game. You have a bunch of white meeples left. Sure, take that one. Ball. That's not for late game. That one is just that's a great early game actually. If you want to get 5 more points from you taking one genie and your opponent taking two genies. But yeah, a lot of these don't really even have 5 point more potential. You just are stuck with the spending of two white meeples for a genie, which, yeah, turning 4 points into 6 points or 4 points into 8 points really is not a huge jump. It's really the powers that we're looking at. All right, and then this one's just unplayable. You would just never play with that one. Okay, so this individual for two-player ranking, they agreed with me on their favorite and their least favorite. They must know a little something something about the game. Let's see. So we have a combined tier list here. Djinns combined. Okay, so this is S tier 50 plus points. Oh, is this like the maximum points that they could earn? That's kind of fun. What? The max points is 30 to 49 for Kendicha? Okay. I guess so, maybe. I don't really know if I trust this list that much. What's Flora or Fora? Like, didn't understand. Language? Sting. Um, and then we'll lastly look at this tier list. This person looks like they might know a little bit. Yep, they're putting this S tier, all three of those, sure, those can be S tier. I'd put Sabitus a little bit lower. And then Fora. What in the world? I need to learn what Fora is. Um, any of these I don't agree with. Yeah, Candicha should be put a lot higher. But Echidna should be the top one. So I think what we learned from this is Echidna is the best, and this bidding guy is the worst. And it's not really a good move, anyways, in the game to be sacrificing your own meeples. So that one's, I guess, overall people don't really like them. That one, Boaz. So in the end, just try to grab some of these top ones, and I think that's how you will know that you're playing the game right. Is if you go for these genies that are in that top tier. Hidna definitely. Jafar tends to be in the top tier list of my own and other people. Leda and Utug, yep, people tend to put those in the A or S tiers. Interesting that Slore is put higher than Alamim. Maybe the thought is you keep on spending your Fakirs and you get exactly what you need for one Fakir. You either draw another Fakir from the top of the deck or you draw what you need. But I think what's going to happen is you're going to just draw a wheat or a fish or something that's a very common resource and not get the ivory or the gems or the gold that you're wanting to get that Alamim could get you with just having one extra Fakir. I would have swapped those two, but we just looked at 3 different tier lists. We have looked at the leaderboard right now, currently in 5 tribes. It's a great game. Y'all should try it on Board Game Arena. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like, comment down below what you thought of each of the tier lists. Was mine the best? Say it is. And make sure to subscribe. Thanks so much.